Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again on another summer's day on the Isle of Wight. My name is Mark Reed. As I'm sure a lot of our listeners are aware, I'm a solicitor at Lord Solicitors. I do enjoy doing our podcasts. I enjoy thinking about, the law and how it develops, and also sometimes it's just nice to be able to read through certain articles or developments that have come through the press, and and just have a chat about them. So that's what we're going to do today. I've managed to drag Ellis Sweetenham away from her desk into our podcast room so that she can discuss a couple of things with me that have just come out in the news, and it's certainly her area of expertise. So welcome, Ellis.
Good afternoon, everybody.
So I know that we do a lot of these podcasts together, but that's usually because we can actually have a chat back and forth and answer some very basic questions that people may have in their head, but of course also give thought for some of the more complex outcomes of certain things that are going on in the press. So we've got lots of different matters that we can discuss, but today we said we were going to discuss the Captain Tom saga that's going on. So do you want to fill us in? What's going on with Captain Tom?
Yeah, so many listeners will remember Captain Tom back at sort of the beginning of lockdown. Famously, this wonderful 99-year-old man who then turned 100 did laps of his garden and raised millions and millions and millions of pounds for the NHS.
Do we know how much he ended up raising? I don't know how much it was.
I don't know. More than £33 million.
Wow. 33 million. Incredible. Sorry, I cut you off there. Carry on.
He walked 100 laps of his garden, and that was just before that he turned 100, hence the 100 laps. So what he did was absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, he then passed away later in 2020, and in honour of him and to continue the work that he was doing, his family set up the Captain Tom Foundation. So that was a registered charity. And as our listeners may or may not know, registered charities are governed by the Charity Commission.
Right.
So the Charity Commission are there to effectively ensure that charities are run in the right way. They are doing the good that they're saying they're doing, and they're not exploiting sort of the benefits that charities get. So alongside that work, the Charity Commission will investigate certain charities if they feel they need guidance in a certain way, or they
could be abusing their power.
Yeah,
it could be something really bad.
They need something intervention.
Yeah, understandable. But what does that mean for Captain Tom though? Because my understanding was this was an intellectual property related matter.
It is. So the foundation are currently under investigation for essentially potential mismanagement of the commission. So the incident that's kick-started the investigation, it's become apparent that the bodies in charge of the commission haven't done their intellectual property due diligence, and within the sort of 2 years in which they've been set up, have failed to register effectively the expected trademarks to protect the name Captain Tom in different areas of goods and services. Because of their failure to do that, someone has now come along and registered all that trademarks, and effectively, potentially, being sort of acting in bad faith, are trying to sell them back to the commission.
So let's just pause there then. Right, okay, so putting aside Charity Commission, what's expected from a charity, standard expectations in terms of business, certainly with our advice, when it comes to IP, is make sure that you're protected. So you have a trademark, you have a brand, but you haven't registered through with a particular aspect of your brand to make sure that that's protected. You can go on and ensure you have, for want of another word, a monopoly over that brand. It's your ownership, it's your identity. So we would expect any business when they're starting out to do that, but I'm assuming, finding that went under the radar, that was missed, they didn't do that, they just carried on with the charity without doing this.
Well, there's another element to it. So the charity was set up by Captain Tom's daughter and his family, and in the investigation of the Charity Commission, it has found that actually the trademarks that were registered the company that registered them is also owned by Captain Tom's daughter. And because the trademarks are owned by the limited company, it's the limited company that are profiting from them, rather than that profit being put into the charity for good causes. So there's sort of a little bit of a grey area going on here.
Hang on, this is interesting. Right, hang on, let me try and understand this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that the company that's come along and registered these trademarks, this limited company, which is its own legal entity...
the company's called Club Nook Limited.
Club Nook Limited, right, that company is also owned by the same person that set up the charity, and that company is now trying to sell said trademarks to the charity.
Well,
is that what you were saying? Or you say sell them back to? Is that correct?
So there's the potential that they're trying to profit from the trademarks.
Okay, trying to profit from
through the company. Rather than that profit being
so we don't know for sure that there's an offer to sell them, because that would be rather odd. So so just full disclosure, look, we're just exploring this case as it develops. In terms of facts, we'll ensure that we're aware what is fact and what is just assumption. Okay, so that's actually an assumption.
There's a grey area in terms of how the company are. I don't want to use the word exploit, but using the trademarks to gain profit, potentially at the detriment of the charity.
Wow. Okay. So when that had all started to sort of come out, the commission have come forward and said, right, we need to investigate this to see what's going on, because of the fact that the charity was set up by the same person that's now set up a limited company. A limited company. That person has that should have actually, if they were the one that had set up the charity itself, they should have ensured that the brand, the name, that IP was protected through the charity, not through a private company.
Yeah, so it is actually it's Sir Tom's daughter, Hannah, and her husband Colin, who are the directors of the limited company and also the trustees of the charity. So essentially the commission is looking at how the charity is managed and the decision making and why the trademarks have gone to the limited company, why not to the charity.
Yeah, so there are lots of questions.
What's the sort of explanation there?
Okay. So there's lots of questions there. So this, so the purposes of this podcast to all of our listeners is to just sort of give you an introduction that this is actually just come out in the news. This is something that we will be keeping a watchful eye on, and it'll be something we'll report back. And what we'll do is we'll hopefully be able to bolt the rest of the podcast onto this as it develops. But as it stands at the moment, it could be a completely innocent thing. There could have been advice that was given to said people. I mean, look, what Captain Tom did was absolutely incredible. So we absolutely have so much respect for him and of course his family for what they do and continue to do. So we'll have to just see whether there was a bit of an error there or whether there is any exploitation going on. I'm sure that isn't the case, but it does just show you, and this is the crux of it, when it comes to IP and it comes to your brand, it comes to your business, protect it, register it, make sure that you hold it close to your heart, because even if there is someone out there that tries to profit, let's just assume this one's an innocent one, if there's someone out there that's trying to profit from another failed failure in being able to protect their IP, there is a degree of being able to, I mean, it's bad faith, so we don't like it, and we do obviously have many cases that go on throughout the year to fight that, but it's costly and it does happen, and some people or brands or businesses do get away with it, so just be careful there.
And the IP can be such an asset as well. That asset can be...
It holds value.
It can be massive. I remember reading a while ago that Coca-Cola, their IP is worth far more than their physical anything, their buildings, their vehicles, their equipment, everything.
With Google as well, that it's Google's the most expensive.
The same, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that literally only a few days ago something had been released to say that it's the value of just that brand, the name, the trademark, Google, is worth more than any other in the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to think that it holds that much value, keep it close and make sure you register it. Okay, so look, to all of our listeners, we're done for today because it's so hot. But one thing we want to just reassure you, pick up the phone if you've got any questions. We are not going to charge you to have a chat. We specialise in lots of areas of law. IP is bread and butter, certainly for our beloved Ellis and our Michael Coyle. So pick up the phone if you want to chat about anything, and I'm sure we'll have the answer. And if we don't know the answer, we will find you the answer. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, Ellis. That was very interesting.
You're welcome.
And we'll speak to you all soon.
Indeed. Bye-bye.